Hey, welcome. Welcome right back to Live with the Shaman. Well, I hope our video or broadcast today finds everyone doing well. We are continuing our coverage of what it is to be a part of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. Hello, Sabrina. Hello, Dave. Wow, Sabrina, on time. Woo! Well, our little high priestess there. This will probably be just a little bit for you. Yeah. All right. Um, this video is being done on December 16th, 2018. We are in the throes of Yule. I want to wish everyone a happy Yule, happy Hanukkah, and a happy Christmas, and by all means, a happy holidays. If you missed Open Pagan Church this morning, we covered, oh my God, the holidays. You ought to check it out. A little funny at times, but we had fun with it. We generally do. Now, onward and upward. I want to give essentially the same basic public announcement here that I did in OPC. That is, you need to research Proclamation 3 or Proc 3 of the European Union. They have started tightening up so bad on copyright laws over there that it may come down to things like Live with a Shaman, Open Pagan Church, and other YouTubers, video bloggers, such as myself and others, um, will not be able to be viewed any place but in America. The entire European Union is sucking down on who can blog and who cannot. Censorship much? Well, there you go. There's squat all we can do about it, right? There's absolutely nothing we can do about it, but those of you that are watching, that watch our pre-recorded broadcast in the European Union, you might want to research it and check it out because it's already written, it's already passed. They're just trying to finish up the last right of it right now. I like it. I find it very interesting that they can pass a law that affects multiple countries in the European Union. They can pass a law, get this, without it being fully written. The European Union can govern to pass a law prior to it being fully written. So the law is passed. All they got to do is write it and enact it. Yeah. Anyway, where were we? Oh, onward and upward. Our topic is high priest expectations. Now, once again, as to per usual, when I say priest or high priest, I am encompassing androgyny, neither male nor female, but both male and female. Yes, Sabrina, WTF, absolutely. So, I will leave you to research that latest laws produced by the European Union. And I've had some people say, well, that's not going to affect America. Yeah, it is. Um, Case in point, I have a lot of technical YouTubers that I follow in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, especially on my Linux channels, since I'm a big Linux buff. A lot of the channels I follow are in the European Union, which means if they even accidentally say something that could be construed as copyright, they could lose their ability for their YouTube account. So, Well, we're not even going to get into the politics of what they want here because that would actually completely, totally negate the purpose for Live with the Shaman. Guess we'll have to open a conversation later as to shamans and politics. Boy, wouldn't that be a conversation? Hmm, not. Okay, so what is what are the expectations of a high priest? Well, they're relatively simple. The expectations of a high priest are relatively simple. If you believe that, I've got oceanfront property in Arizona for you too. So let's jump right off in it, shall we? Over to the other monitor we go, and right here, number 9, high priest. Now, this is a typical standard expectation of a typical standard high priest. To cross into the high priesthood, you should by now have your own groove or whatever started and students in place. Now, I am going to retrospect that just a little bit. In the up and coming update that I've been talking about for the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, a lot of these expectations are going to be rewritten because these are completely different times from what it was 10, 12 years ago. We are taking on remote students. We have different expectations of people. We have different expectations of what we hope people will accomplish. So, yes, I do reply to IMs on the back end, um, people that don't want to post in the chat, and that's fine. That's fine. It's just occasionally I have to stop talking because I don't dare type and talk at the same time. There's not much telling what I'm liable to say or what I'm liable to type. So anyway, there we go. So anyway, back over to the left screen. The biggest thing that a high priest or high priestess is expected in the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, number one, is the code of ethics. I expect the high priest in the GCS to understand and accept and acknowledge and live by as close as they can these Celtic shaman warrior code of ethics, because what a lot of people don't understand is shamans at the core are healers. Now that doesn't mean all healers are shaman, right? But it does mean that all shamans are healers in one form or another. Whether we are healers by energy, whether we're healers by death walkers, whether we're healers by um, psychology, sociology, all of the above. Shamans are healers of one kind or another. Some of us are guides, some of us are leads, some of us just simply try to live as an example. But we are also warriors. And a lot of people don't understand that shamans at the core have relatively pissy tempers. We spend all of our training from seeker in first year all the way up past the master to learning with, dealing, living with our tempers. Okay, so with this in mind, we can move on. Loyalty. Okay, And I will let y'all read these. I'm not going to read them all to you. If you've been following along with the tradition of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, I would hope you've gone over to the Open GCS, downloaded your copy, and read it. Justice. Now here's where a little bit, here's where a few people get confused. Your sword is recognized as the path of right. And this is the hard one. Without bias or personal interest tempered by humanity. Now, essentially, what this means is that if you're one of those ones, and I'm not going to try to build my own sword, but if you're one of those ones that builds your own sword, for each fold of the steel, you want to temper it with justice and loyalty. Humility. Boy, how many of us actually forget humility? Defense, nobility, courage, faith, and nature. Now, as a high priest in the GCS, you are required to understand these, to have exhibited these. You may not be able to recite these off the top of your head. If I walk up to you and I say, what is the Celtic Shaman Warrior Code of Ethics? The Celtic Shaman Warrior Code of Ethics. If I ask, what is it? You're required to give the gist of it, what our code of ethics is, what we stand for. You're not required to recite it. I'm mostly interested, do you live it? Do you understand it? Do you go with it? Also, as a high priest within the shaman, you should understand the shaman's code of ethics. And I am going to read this to you because this you should live, you should breathe, you should eat. Again, shamanism is not just a path, it's a way of life, right? I will protect and guide to the best of my ability with no harm to another. Now, I will protect and I will guide to the best of my ability with no harm to another. Now, folks, we do not hold to the Wiccan creed of harm none, do as you will. We don't. We do not set out to harm others. We do not put ourselves in a position to set out to harm other people, other living creatures. It is not something that we try to do. It is not something that we set out to do. However, if you get in my face and you set out to hurt me, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. I will want not that which is not mine to want. It is one thing to strive to do better, to have more, to have better things in life, to do better in life. But I'm not going to be jealous of what someone else has. I have been argued with over this one. I will never use my powers to seduce, coerce, or enslave any being in this or other worlds. I will never use my powers to seduce, coerce, or enslave any beings in this or other worlds. Now, what that means is simple. Shamans have a very interesting ability to be able to socially, sociologically, and environmentally manipulate. Our strive, our goal, is to help people be better with themselves, not use our powers and our abilities to manipulate others to our better goal. Now, I've been argued with about this one, and been accused of doing it, and no one has yet to prove the point and prove that I've done it, which I have not. Strive to love all. Yep. I'm gonna strive to love people for what they are. I don't have to like you. I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to understand you. But I do have to accept you and love the fact that you're a human being, and let's move on. This one really gets people. I will strive to speak the truth. Now, striving to speak the truth is simple. In the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, not offering information, not presenting acknowledged information to us is not necessarily a lie. There are a number of times I withhold information to keep from hurting someone else, or I just take it and deal with it and move on to keep from hurting someone else. However, if you ask my opinion, I'll be more than glad to give it to you. Onward. I will strive never to influence anyone to do that which is illegal or dishonorable. Now, illegal or dishonorable. Well, illegal determines the statute of laws within your particular geographical location on the planet. Dishonorable ranks up there with morals. Not everybody's honor. Now, get this, not everybody's honor may match someone else's honor. Not everyone's morals may match someone else's morals. Legalities, legalistically speaking, if you're in another geographical location of the planet and you're taking one of us as a teacher, you will need to understand our guidance of legality and honor and the way we teach. If you differ, you have to communicate that with your teacher. And you have to discuss that with your teacher and be ready. Your teacher has to be able to make allowances, and you have to be ready to make allowances for whatever it is you're seeking. Clear as mud? I strive to bring healing to all that wish it. Well, that ought to be straightforward. I strive to speak words of reason where there is reason to be spoken to the confused. Now, this was a direct parable given to me by my spirit guides in 2000. I will strive to speak words of reason where there is reason to be spoken to the confused. Now, if you don't understand what that means, it can mean different things to different people. Because words of reason may make perfect sense to me within a particular situation, but it's not going to mean anything to anyone else. So this is another judgment call, another one of those paradoxes of being shaman. I will not indulge in fear and paranoia. Like I said, shamans are capable by core. Shamans are capable of manipulation, energy manipulation, environmental manipulation, and sociological, psychological, and emotional manipulation. Shamans always have been. If you look at different shamans of different tribes of different geographic locations around the world, that is one of those things that follows straight across with shamanism. Shamans are not the only ones that have this. However, in our path, we are one of the ones that flat refuses, or by oath of tradition, should never indulge in fear and paranoia. What I call fear mongering and paranoia mongering. Getting out there and stirring shit just because you think you can. Right? I will not encourage others to indulge in fear and paranoia. I will not indulge others. I will not encourage others to indulge in fear and paranoia. I hope like hell I don't have to explain this one to you, because if I do, maybe you need to go back and do some more soul searching. What do you think? And last but not least, most definite, last but not least, I will strive to be who I am and not be who I am not. I will strive to be who I am and not be who I am not. I'm a shaman. I'm not a witch. I'm not a druid. I like learning about witchcraft. I love learning about druidism. I am definitely not a Luciferian, though I find the path really interesting and like talking to Luciferians to learn. I'm not an atheist, though I understand the atheist path. I understand the philosophy and the ideology behind it. But it doesn't mean I'm an atheist. Nor does it mean I am a shaman atheist. Nor does it mean I am a shaman witch. Nor does it mean I am a shaman druid. Be druid, be witch, be shaman, be who you are. So, that being said, by the level of the high priest, you should have essentially truly understood the basis, the ideology, the philosophy, the understanding, and the overall initiative of everything that comes down to being in the grove of the Celtic shaman. And I assure you folks, I'm not going to expect anything out of you that I haven't expected out of myself and those who have come before you. And one of the things you need to remember is your seeker, first year, senior student, priesthood, high priest, master priest. That is essentially basically recognized within the grove of the Celtic shaman. Once you become a priest, you're essentially on your own. We're there. We're there to teach you. If you decide to keep your teacher, I've had several of my high priests through the years decide to keep me as their primary teacher. That's a good thing. Or it's just a thing. I've had a lot of people that step out that wanted to be a high priest within the grove. Fine, as long as they maintain respect to the tradition and follow the tradition, of course, as good as they can. But what more is there to cover about a high priest? Well, let's cover the robe, if we will. The high priest is the wearer. The high priest is the wearer of the black robe. The first year senior student and priest wear the white robe, the clarity, the clarity of the light, walking strictly specifically with the light. By the time a student becomes a high priest, they're now ready to deal, I hope, with their darkness. Ha! By the time someone becomes a high priest, they're ready to deal with the darkness. They're ready to understand what it is to walk with the underworld, as it is to walk with this world, as it is to walk with the world above. By the time someone becomes a high priest, it's time to start taking on the responsibility and learning the true color of life. And the true color of life is gray. It's not black, it's not white. They understand by now, I hope, that gray is the way of understanding. You don't become a gray robe until you reach master. And there is no specific time span between high priest and master. On an average, master is 10 year. You're 10 year from the time you dedicated as a first year, on an average. But going about that later. But your high priesthood is a very high responsible, very high in responsibility within the grove, because you are expected to assist in the teaching of others. Irregardless of whether or not they're your student, you're required to respect other students, respect others' teachings, but also be there to answer questions, even if the answer is, I think you might want to check with your teacher on that. I think you're a little bit off on that. And I have been known to tell people this more times than not. Now, understanding that the Grove of the Celtic Shaman is not the end all be all. We are the Grove. We've been around since 2000. We've inaugurated several shamans in our tradition. Some have stayed, some have gone. The ones that have gone have taken the tradition with them, changed it a bit, turned it around just a little bit, turned it upside down in some cases, but they're still doing fine within their own lifestyles. I've had some students that have come and said, thank you for the teaching. I went and found another way. I've had some students that join the Grove that are in it 6 months and then decide, not for me, gone. Thank you, thank you for your teaching, thanks to the spirits and the council, but I'm out of here. That's fine. When you come across as a high priest, you're not required to stay in the Grove. When you come across as a high priest, you'll be recognized as a high priest within the Grove, even though you've buggered off to do your own thing. You then become not a member of the GCS, but a brother or a sister to therein. Got several like that out there, as it is. So what else is there? There's not a whole lot else I can cover as a high priest. Sorry, my bum goes numb. There's not a whole lot else I can cover as a high priest, unless those of you watching right now have questions. So let's open it up a little bit for questions. I don't see a whole lot of people watching live, so I doubt there will be any. We'll give it a minute. We are 29 minutes past the hour. So in our discussion that we've had in this series of the tradition of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman, I want to remind you all that we will be doing an upgrade to it. Hopefully between now and the first of the year. We are really running out of time, and to be honest, none of us have really had time to do anything with it. I will be scheduling a time on a Sunday during Live with a Shaman. It'll be about the same time of day as this. So those of you in the East, you may want to get your butts out of bed a little early so you can be online if you want input to the changes of the grove, as it were. You don't have to be a member of the GCS to join in, but the members of the GCS do have the final say in what goes into the grove. We will take your ideas for sure because we're here for the future shamans and not just America. Okay, well, we are 30 minutes, 31 minutes past the hour. That is the high priest, if you will, of the Grove of the Celtic Shaman. There's not a whole lot we can beat to death about it. But if you have questions and you have ideas and comments, we look forward to them. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, click subscribe, click like, click dislike. I don't care. But put in there what you think at least. At least give us that much. Thank you for watching Live with the Shaman. We will not be here Yule weekend, which is next weekend, the 23rd of December. So we will see you the 30th right here. Have a great week. Blessed Yule. Happy Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And, well, happy holidays from all of us here at Live with the Shaman. Thank you for watching.